And welcome and good morning back to Mike Ferry TV. We have a very wonderful and great person on the call today, Miss Carol Turner. And Carol's been involved for the last couple of days in one of our prospecting clinics. And so Carol, we've been doing these prospecting clinics for probably now 25, 30 years.
Long time.
And it's interesting that the success that you folks and the coaches are having with our clients virtually is actually better than the success we had live at the prospect. And you've done both live and virtual.
Yes, I have.
First of all, I'm going to ask, tell our great viewers, we have a lot of people watching Mike Ferry TV, tell them where you live and what your background is, please, because you have a great.
Well, thank you. I live in the Philadelphia area of Pennsylvania. I've been working with you as a coach, full-time coach, for over 9.5 years. And before that, actually trained the Mike Ferry system exclusively for 7 years with Coldwell Banker Preferred. And let's just say I've been a realtor for a very, very, very long time.
Okay, so I don't need to know the date, but how long have you been?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been in the industry now?
Almost 38 years.
Good for you. We had a chance to interview Sydney Fullen, who I know is a friend of yours. I think she is also about 38 years. Which is, it's amazing to me that we've known each other as long as we have, and that we're still smiling, working every single day with this crazy business. So thank you for participating today. So just give us an outline of what happens in a prospecting clinic, because it's very unique to do these virtually as you've done so well.
Well, what's interesting is in the clinic I was just a part of, we had brand new agents as well as incredibly experienced agents all together. About 24 people showed up this last time. And we had almost everyone set an appointment on the first day. So what happens is everyone gets started with a coach kind of warming them up, talking them through this. They've been sent a book with all of the scripts, actually even how to get themselves ready to prospect. And then we walk them through it. We do affirmations and we let them go.
So they prospecting at their office or home where they used to prospect our office together.
Absolutely. So we used to have them in, 30 to 40 people right there in Las Vegas and in Florida. And now they're on a Zoom call. We see all their faces and they're making the calls and the energy is high.
That's exciting because it almost seems like, and I don't have the actual results for it's been almost 18 months now doing these on virtual.
Wow.
And it just seems like the results are so much better. Can you identify why would the results for prospecting be better this way than live?
Well, what was interesting, especially in this last one, they get to work with you one-on-one. So they're moved into a breakout room and you're with them and they'll bring up either a topic or we actually watch them prospect and we critique them right there and help them get to another level. Or for the brand news, there was a lot of teaching. They didn't really know what they were doing, but they could walk away or go back into the main room feeling confident that they can move forward. And that's what we're looking for, getting them to focus, which a lot of people are doing right now. Coming to this, the texts I received are, thank you. I needed to focus for 4 hours. I had to do this. And that I think is probably more important than anything else.
That is great. Well, you have such a big advantage, and that is all those years of being the training director at CB. And that company you were with was a great client, and it's still a great company. I think they sold it to NRT.
Yes, they did.
So how much does that experience, because you had a lot of new licensees, and we have a lot of new licensees at this retreat, Carol, if you remember, we did this last month or 6-8 weeks ago in July.
Yes.
The audience was a year or less in the business, which was, I've never had
amazing.
That.
Yeah.
What is the difference when you're doing the teaching with a new licensee versus a person 4 or 5 years, 10 years that may never have produced much business? What is
interesting? You said that we had both of those kinds of people. Well, we get them right now in coaching. I think the two things is for the brand new is they have a lot of things to learn and we have to ask them to be patient a little bit to learn the skills of how to actually run their business.
Yeah.
For those who have sold real estate before, it's a little bit easier because we're just giving them the specific systems that they need right now to start producing faster.
Yes.
So the first group, we're trying to find a transaction for them, help them find a transaction and learn it the best way. I mean, I know this sounds silly, but I couldn't do anything else besides the Mike Ferry system after training it so long. It's the only way I know that helps people get there faster and more logically. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Well, actually, you when you said what you said, I said this to me a couple of days ago. It's really no longer the Mike Ferry sales system. When you're working, it's the Carol Turner success system, or it's the Sydney Fuller or Miss Sheboygan, because that's really what we have to believe. How many clients do you coach for us? How many do you have?
67.
Wow. So you have one of the biggest schedules of all of our full-time coaches.
I do.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, hats off to you, because I know that is a stressful, exciting job. So,
can I tell you, it's an advantage.
Say that. Tell me again.
It's an advantage. I coach all over North America. I am on the pulse of all these markets, and I can get from each of them something to give to others. There's so much to be able to share. So we're teaching the system, but in coaching, there's more than just the systems. It's about getting to the next step. And I feel like I have an advantage because I know what's going on all across the country.
Well, that is a huge advantage. In fact, I said to Kathy Schweitzer a couple of weeks ago, I said, nationally, the market is changing, and it's not getting worse and it's not getting better. It's just kind of leveling off a little bit. The days on market has extended. I coach Zach Bear, who is not too far from you in Philadelphia. And, the number of expireds is getting bigger.
Yeah.
The number of offers per listing is shrinking back to somewhat a normal situation. Price reductions are more common. Expired listings are taking place. I talked to Ren Jones at Vulcan 7, and he said, we have expired listings now more than ever, more than we've had in 18 months. Are you experiencing that same environment with most of your clients?
I do that with many, not all, but many, yes, absolutely. And I kind of think, I feel stabilization more than a problem. I do think that it's a lot more advantageous to buyers that there's not against 20 different people now. And there's still multiple offers in multiple markets, and really it's in multiple price points. So it's really something that the client has to watch regularly. They have to be on top of their statistics every day.
Yeah, I really think, Carol, what you're saying there, and I want everybody to listen to what Carol said, be on top of the market stats almost every day today. It's that important, especially when you're talking to a seller.
Absolutely.
Keep them aware. But I like that word stabilization, because that, it's becoming a little more stable. We can't expect the big checks instantaneously without any effort that we could expect 6 months ago. Do you
For
agree?
sure. Agreed.
Good. So what are some of the common things you see in the agents that are doing the best? What are some of their common, they always use the word characteristics. I guess that's as good a word as any.
Sure. Well, a couple of them are, I'm going to say, boring. The top producers that I work with are consistent and reliable first.
Okay.
They always show up. They always are prepared, and they're always ready to go to work. And I know that's kind of boring, but that's sort of the foundation. But when I think of the people who are producing at the highest levels right now, there are a few things that are very specific. They know their goals inside and out, and they are so driven, or, it's that, people use the word grit. I feel the grit from them regularly. They will do whatever it takes to achieve their goals, which makes it easier for a coach.
Yes.
The other thing I see with them is that they have sort of the ability to have the broad look at their lives, the thinking big look, as well as being able to look at daily and weekly goals and live within them. And some people who are not as successful don't have as easy a time to be able to do both of those well.
I wish everybody would really pay attention to what you just said, because that I wrote down a broad look at themselves.
Yes.
You know, they're all saying, well, if I could just be like Carol, if I could just be like Bob, why don't you be like the person in the mirror, but just improved?
Good idea.
That's really what it's all about. But I also wrote down the word driven. You know, you have something. We spent a lot of this past summer, as I'm sure you were aware, we were at our house at the beach.
Yes.
Versus being in this nice, cool Las Vegas temperature in May, June, July, and August. And it was interesting, Carol, because we started writing a 4-year plan for Sabrina and I, because at 76, 4 years all of a sudden has the number 8 in front of my age, which
wow.
It's really hard for me. Somebody said to me last week, and because we've known each other so long, I can share this with you. Somebody said, what's it like to be 76? I said, I don't know. I've never been 76 before. You know?
Right.
It's just like 75, except my date on my calendar is more than it was in the past. But we started,
I'm right there with you. Not at 76, but.
Yeah, no, I know you're not. But we started planning the next 4 years. And the more we talked about it, the more excited we got and the better our decisions became. And we could see clearly at age 80 what I can do. Now, Sabrina, as most of our clients know, is substantially younger than I am. So she has much more time left on this wonderful thing called Earth than I probably have. But you really have to have a big overall thinking, big view, which I think is a great thought. What's the biggest frustration you experience doing the training, the teaching, the coaching, the clinics, you know, because you do so much?
Well, I don't know if this is hard for me. I'm the consummate optimist. So I don't feel frustration for very long. Okay. I can tell you what the challenges are, but please. Frustration, I have to say, leaves me every 30 minutes. So I don't leave it in my head very long. I don't know how to do that. So that's a hard question for me. But in terms of challenges, I kind of see it in 2 ways. So for the people who are having this wonderful year, and you've written about this and you've talked about this, we're working, first of all, to keep them out of complacency and reestablishing goals so that they continue to achieve. But one of their biggest challenges are when you are achieving at a high level, systems break down. So we're looking at systems almost monthly and quarterly before they have to hire that second assistant or find new ways to have additional delegations. And there's a lot of that happening with the top producers because they were having a great life before that. And now things have to be reevaluated. So we have to do that pretty rapidly. So they keep moving forward. So keep them out of complacency and watch how they're operating, because systems will have to be revamped as they grow so quickly.
Well, as a person that was very involved with new licensees at CB all those years, you know, the number of new licensees today is almost overwhelming to the industry. I think we've added probably 300,000 to 400,000 agents over the last 8 to 12 months to real estate. And they all see this great big paycheck visually, but they don't have one in their hand.
Well, there the challenge is, right? So what I feel like I've done more this year was ask people to be patient and that they really need to get the foundation in place. And that's what I like about top producers, because they're always asking to learn, always. They want to know more. But the newer people or the people who haven't seen that success have to be fundamental. The fundamentals are the only way to it. And it's hard for them because of the distracted world we live in. So we have to take it in chunks of kinds of skills. You chunk it and work with that skill until they can really master that so that they can move on. But it takes time. And plus, they're not getting the listings that rapidly as someone who's been getting them all the time. They don't have the database for that or the knowledge. So they end up working with buyers. And we have to help them truly become more efficient at that and to have really strong standards with that, because they're already running around crazy and they don't want to go out with people who aren't motivated or really aren't going to be able to be qualified in the way the market works now to have a home. So there's a lot of emotion with people who are newer to the business.
Boy, and that is such a critical thought, I think, what you just said. There is a lot of emotion because, yes, we have to work with buyers. It's part of life, but it doesn't have to be our life. And,
Correct.
The agents that listen to you and listen to myself and listen to the other people that share our knowledge is listings are the name of the game, period.
Agreed.
But why is it harder to get an agent, or is it so hard to get an agent to understand that? Because you have a lot of experience at this.
Well, so people unfortunately take the path of least resistance, and especially when they are learning and growing. So it's very difficult for them to hang in there a little bit longer, a little more, it happened on the clinic. Do take that third, do that fourth close. Don't give up because you've had 99 no's. It's 99 no's to a yes. Keep at it. If we could just keep that stamina, put that grit in them, that the Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality of never giving up, then they're going to make it. We just have to get over the hump.
Yeah, it's tough. And of course, then you add to the fact that the paychecks, when they get them, are big, bigger than we've ever seen, you and I. Okay.
Yes.
I think,
Sure.
and when I say this, some of them will say no way, but my first paychecks as a realtor in 1970 were $285 for a listing sold.
That's not a lot of money.
And I thought it was pretty good at the time. I remember my first listing I took at $50,000. I thought I had hit the roof for the biggest listing in history, So,
well, you bring up something important, because when they're getting these first big checks, the roller coaster begins. So it's our job as coaches to be really tight with them getting back on the schedule and not to have those complacent moments, because then they do what we've seen so many times. They work from paycheck to paycheck as opposed to building a business like we teach.
Well, it's interesting because that you mentioned complacency, keeping the systems working forward, but the independent contractorship that we all have to deal with is probably what gets in the way of a lot of their really attaining. I can't remember who said to me, if I could help them understand that they're in the sales business, they probably would be better off. And that's something that you and I, of course, understand very well.
Well, you taught me, this is a business, and they have to understand that even though they have a roof over their heads with a broker, they are literally running a business, and they have to open their store every day. And if they could many people who come into coaching have an employee mentality.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to get out of that when they've been employees in their past life.
Yes, because the freedom is their greatest asset and their biggest liability. So
exactly.
I want to tell all of our viewers something kind of fun. When I asked Carol to be with us today, I sent her a list of questions, and then of course I didn't ask any of them. But your insights were, I've got a whole page of notes for what you've said.
Well, thank you.
Well, no, it's just been great. We have to do this more often. That's for darn sure. So I want to say on behalf, we have thousands of people that watch Mike Ferry TV each week. As I do every week, watch it more than once, because there's too many things Carol said that have a lot of value. And each time they listen, they'll hear something a little bit new. So I know you've been extremely active as a coach every day, running our prospecting school. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Carol, we'll look forward to seeing you very soon. And I hope that the balance of this year is as good for your clients as the first 7, 8, 9 months have been. That's for sure. So
thank you so much. It's an honor to work for this company. I enjoy it every single day.
Thank you. See you very soon, Carol. Thank you.
Bye-bye.